being in a place with many polyamorous couples and like receiving people's stories about their struggles and joys of polyamory, and it gave me permission to share mine. And when we say our stories out loud, I just got to hear my own voice over and over, and then just like received people's presence and love and understanding. I wasn't having to explain what polyamory is or defend what polyamory is. A couple of the somatic practices, one was the wheel of consent, which I was familiar with, but because we actually embodied it and it wasn't just a cognitive task, it seems so simple, but it's really profound. Before saying our yes or no, pausing and really feeling it and being with the person in front of us as they're waiting for our answer. And we're sitting with that feeling of what it's like for a person to wait for our yes and no, but with permission and even in honor and respect to be in that pause. And I was able to take that practice into my real life. And the next time I was faced with, being in an interaction that, like a pleasure-based interaction, and then we're kind of negotiating what we want and our boundaries, and I could just take a pause. And before, I was always feeling rushed, like I should answer because I don't want to make them wait. I don't want them to feel awkward, but I had so much more groundedness in wanting to honor my own body that I could just sit and say, like, I need to think about that and take all the time I needed. And what was super interesting was I was able to find, not because I was trying, but there were so many more yeses that came from that space, like authentic yeses, that I think if I hadn't let myself really sit and feel safe, then I probably would have just shut down and said no, because I don't know, and so it doesn't feel safe, and so I just can't go there. But waiting and really feeling in made my body feel safer. And that's something I've taken with me since retreat, and I don't ever plan on losing that. The other one that we did, asking for touch that feels pleasurable, and then receiving that touch. And then you would prompt us to notice when we started to tolerate the touch. So as opposed to feeling true pleasure from it, but when we're like, it's fine, it's not a no, but it's just like, meh. And then you were asking, like, if that person is really wanting to bring us pleasure, why would we just stay in meh or tolerating? And I was like, oh my gosh, and so a couple of times you cued and notice when you're moving towards tolerating. And I was like, I am moving towards tolerating. Now what? And so then I could remember that the person I'm with wants to bring me pleasure. So they want to hear my voice. And so and then I could lean into that. And then the other one, it's like kind of very different somatic practice that we did, which was I embodied my typical pattern of how I blame someone if I'm feeling hurt, but without words. And that then she reflected back how that made her feel in her body. And I think it was actually really incredible to do this with someone who wasn't my partner, because we didn't have any history. So it's just me acting out this pattern that has nothing to do with her, and her reflecting how it made her feel. And one time she said that it made her feel small, and it just shocked me in the middle of that blaming, like, oh my gosh, that's not what I wanted her to. I don't want her to feel small. There's no way in the world I want my partner to feel small. I just want to feel heard and known and seen. And so part of that was really being reflected back what it's like to receive me when I'm blaming. And then, but we didn't just stay there. And this was the beautiful part, was then you helped take us through a practice of where that came from in our lives. So where did we maybe receive that sort of blame? And then you helped us explore how we would like to express when we're hurt. And then we went back and forth in and out of those roles. So our typical old pattern of blame, and then how can we literally shift in our body? What's our muscle? How does our muscle tension change? How does our posture change? So that when we're in that blaming, the old blame pattern, and I can feel that, to be able to literally know in my body, okay, I can relax my hands. I actually need to sit down, or kneel, because that was something that really helped me shift into connecting with my partner and being able to show them the hurt parts, as opposed to throwing the hurt parts at them and making them feel small. And so embodying that shift was like a next level practice, not just knowing our own patterns, but then now what do we do with them? And that really stuck with me, because now I know if I get into that mindset where I want to like prove them wrong or like show them how they hurt me, and it's this kind of like in my body, this, like attacking arrow kind of finger and like forward posture. And if I can picture that when I'm kind of picturing, if I'm prepared, like getting ready to have a relationship check-in or a difficult conversation, and I can feel myself preparing in that way, it's like, okay, no, I don't actually want that. I just really want to share what is hurting. And so then I can get softer and come back. And it's like, okay, how do I share from here? My paradigm shift for polyamory, it's still settling in, but when I think of the ability to love many people, my mind before it looked a certain way. And being on the retreat and receiving love and through presence was a different kind of love than I had really thought of as polyamory. I thought it's like multiple romantic relationships or sexual relationships, which is all fine and good. But the ability to be really present and love from our heart in that moment to the person who's in front of us, like receiving that, and actually receiving it outside of a romantic or sexual relationship, I was like, oh, this is where I want to be. I'm clearer about the way that I want to be able to show up, which is just present with the person in front of me and however that looks. And I don't want to be in a relationship that prevents me from being able to do that. It really changed even my definition of a relationship, and the ability for polyamory to mean to love someone that you're just meeting on retreat for a few days. So it was really in your presence that I came to know this. But your presence with me also helped me sink into being present with myself, which is such a gift, right? That's such a gift. But it really is, I don't know how else to describe it, but it really was just like oh, this is love. And I want to love more like the love that I felt from you. Like that is that. Yeah. I think I was just, in general, I was so touched by being with so many polyamorous people, like looking down the dinner table or being in the pool and hearing their struggles. And the struggles were different, right? They're different, maybe stories and struggles, but every polyamorous couple there was working through some really tough things. And at the bottom of it was like, how can we love each other more and still love ourselves? Seeing that there are still tough things, that these hard parts still show up in really big ways, made me feel, I think it kind of made me feel like, okay, I'm not failing at polyamory. I was like, no, it's like I fit right in, because everyone is struggling with human relationships. And it's like, okay, we're struggling, but we're doing this type of loving and relating because it feels worth it in some capacity. And that was like, okay, it's okay to struggle. It was amazing for me. I actually loved going without a partner. I felt there was like a freedom to it. And also even the partner exercises, like I said earlier, even the partner exercises, being able to do those with another person who came as solo poly was awesome. And like I got to work through things on a different level. So I'd say if you are solo poly, or you have multiple relationships and you want to come by yourself, I would say yes, yes, yes.